Hi, this is Bill Hartzer, and this is the Digital Marketing Podcast with Bill Hartzer for Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. So I want to go ahead and focus a little bit today on, or mostly today, on domain migrations and moving from one domain name to another. I've talked about this before in different scenarios and different situations, different articles and different videos, but today I want to go back through and talk a little bit about it today specifically. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and let's see. Okay, move a few things out of the way here. So I've put together a checklist for moving from one domain name to another, and I want to go through that today. So keep in mind, though, that due diligence before you move is one of the things that is absolutely necessary. And so that could either make or break your domain migration when you move. I know there are certain situations where you just have to move and you don't have a choice, and that's fine. But ideally, you do have a choice and on when you are actually going to move. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's a company that has the .org, and they've been using that as their main website and so forth, and they finally acquired the .com, and so they really want to move. In an ideal situation, once they acquire that .com domain, they would actually, what you would want to do and what they would want to do is basically establish a website on the same topic, maybe take a few pages of content from your site and put it on that new domain. You want to make sure that it's on the same topic. If you say you're a recruiter and you bought a great name and you're going to be moving to it, you want to make sure there's employment and recruiting type of content on that domain. You don't want to just put up some old other topic, if you will, like a dog and cat website or a personal website or something. You want to make sure it's on the same topic, because we want to establish the fact that let the search engines actually see that that's what the topic of the domain is in the website. And the reason why we want to do that is for a few things. We want to verify it in Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. We want to look for errors and issues that particular domain that you're moving to. We want to make sure that it's not risky that we move. We want to make sure that it's that the pages can get indexed, they can get crawled and indexed, and we want to look and see if there's any penalties on the domain name that we're moving to. Okay, even though it's maybe even if it's a brand new domain name that you think has never been registered before. We're now 30 plus years, 20 plus years at least into this internet thing, and there's a good chance that it was used at one point and so forth. So doing that due diligence and making sure that the domain that we're moving to does not have any problems. We want to check the links. We want to check the links in Google Search Console. We want to see, like I said, that it can actually get crawled and indexed and that there's not any issues. If there are any issues with it, you will probably see them. And it will be, apparent. Things like, for example, you verified in Google Search Console and it's ranking for all sorts of weird keywords that have nothing to do with the topic of the domain, or you see links that you've never seen before that are not out there. When you check the links in Majestic, for example. So basically, give it some time. Establish that, maybe even maybe put some landing pages on it test the traffic. You could establish, at some point you're going to be moving to it. So maybe next month you're going to be moving, but do some Google ads and Facebook ads and start sending some traffic to that domain, to some landing pages there. Just gets that, start using it, start making it, and so forth and so forth. So when it comes down to this checklist, I've recently put this checklist out as a blog post, so you can copy and paste it and use it any way you want. I've narrowed it down into basically 4 different sections. What you need to do pre-move, I talk a little bit about pre-planning, what you need to do on moving day, and then after moving day, what you need to do afterwards. So basically that's the 4, I'm going to go through these in particular, but keep in mind that there may be some that you don't need to actually do, but there may, depending on your situation, there may be some that I just mentioned once, and that's going to be a real big part of it, of the whole process. So it kind of depends on your situation, but this is a pretty good checklist I put together for with all the different migrations that I've done. So let's talk about the first, pre-moving. That's probably, other than the due diligence, which I've mentioned, and you're kind of ready to move, technically speaking, what we want to do is we want to make a backup a copy, and we want to be working on the copy. So this is a good chance to probably make, let's say you're going from the .org to the .com. Okay, let's make a copy of the site, the .org site, on new hosting, on a new server, or on the same server, but it may be a new instance, okay? Because you're going to need to maintain both copies, one for the redirects on the .org and the new site on the .com. So we want to have a copy, essentially, that we're working on. And we want we want a separate backup, but also we want a copy. So we're going to work on the copy. And so in that copy, we want to do some things and work on it. For example, we may need to do some changes. For example, any references to the old domain and so forth. I'll get to that. But let's first, make a copy, set up and consider new hosting or a new server or something like that. Crawl the current website and start saving a list of URLs. Okay. And this is going to be key. Any URLs that you can find anywhere, whether it's in Google Search Console, whether those pages are in Google Analytics, whether or not they're server log files, anywhere you can find old URLs on the page, just make a list, because we're going to want to use those as redirects when we set those up. So so even if it's a version of the site that is from 10 years ago, there were URLs, if it was whatever .html, and you're not even using .html pages anymore, you still will want to get those redirects in place. Look at all the links. Look at all the links that are pointing to the site, and some, services like Majestic and Ahrefs and SEMrush can give you list of URLs. You're going to want to basically have a massive list of every page possible that you could then potentially redirect. So review this new copy of the site. We want to look for references to the old domain. We may want to update the copy anywhere it mentions the old domain. We want to make it ready for the new domain. So internally, any internal links are going to have to go to the new domain rather than the old domain. You might have a logo that has the new domain name in it. Things like that, you're going to have to really go over in QA and make sure it's ready. I mentioned performing due diligence that on the domain that you're moving to, but that's kind of the part of this pre-move process. Check all the links from other websites, using Majestic and so forth. Check all the links and make note of all the powerful links, because later on you'll probably want to get those updated to the new domain rather than having those go through in particular, rather than having those go through a redirect. It's, it's preferable to have them go direct. So for example, so in this process, verify the site in Google Search Console. So we want to verify both sites, both domains, all the different versions, HTTP, HTTPS, HTTP www whatever.com, olddomain.com, and all the, keep in mind, you're going to have to set up HTTPS on the new domain, but you're also going to have to keep it going on the old domain, because any redirect will go to HTTP, people going to HTTPS. So you don't want them to get an error or and that redirect not occur and so forth when you're doing that. Think about a press release. Think about how you were going to announce to the public that you're moving. That also may, even though you're not a large company, maybe you want to get some more additional links, and get, when you have links, even if it's a press release link, the search engines will see it and it'll cause them to crawl and so forth. So we want to get that activity moving with those links. And think about a new marketing campaign. Are you going to do Google ads, or are you going to do some kind of how are you going to announce and help awareness of the new domain? That's important. Larger companies would probably do everything from radio, TV, billboard, and so forth, and social media and online ads. Whereas, if you're a small business, you may not need to do that, but keep in mind that's available. Pre-planning, let's talk about a date. Make a date and time. If you have a larger organization, you're going to need to detail the process for moving everything, maybe some things from this checklist, or all these things from the checklist, or even additional things in your organization. Who's responsible for actually like setting up the redirects, going on the domain name and logging into the registrar and changing the name servers? You're going to have to, figure all that out. Give it a date and time, reasonably, where you've QA'd the new version of the site and so forth. Even though it's the same exact site, you're still going to need to fix internal links and so forth, and you're gonna have to do that. So when you're actually ready to move, add the 301 redirects. Okay, we don't want they should not be temporary. This should be 301 redirects. We're going to go to page to page. So olddomain.com/contact should redirect to olddomain.com or newdomain.com/contact. Page to page. You don't want the old domain /contact to go to the home page of the new domain. You want it to go to the equivalent page on the new domain. Now, keep in mind, you may want to even re-look at all the pages on your site, because you may not need all that content, or you may want to add additional content. If you're removing pages from the old domain when you're moving, you will still want to set up those redirects so that they redirect to the appropriate page on the new domain, the same category. Okay. You're going to notify, you're going to crawl the website. Once it's live, crawl the new website with a crawler and look for errors that you've missed. I've done a lot of domain migrations, and frankly, I'm not perfect, and sometimes I will find something that I forgot about. It happens. Notify Google of the change of address. They have a change of address form that you can actually fill out, and you notify them officially. I recommend that if you can, because I believe that if you do if you have verified that you're the owner of both domains and you're actually moving, there's a good chance that they'll pass all the link use or all the credit from the old domain to the new one. If you just do a 301 and you don't notify them, you may lose some of that. That's just my speculation, but that's why they kind of give us the change of address form. Update the analytics with the new domain, because you'll want, you'll want both, you want both to be there, because you want to be able, you want to use the same Google Analytics account on both domains. Don't go ahead and just and don't start a new analyst, because you'll want to see the progression of when you moved, what the traffic was. You want to monitor that and how that's going. Any social media profiles, new domain name updates, email signatures, email addresses. Talking about email, there, if you're in an organization that you're using, everybody's used to sending and receiving email on the old domain, give it some time for them to move over and have a plan for that. There's a best, it may you may want to have both emails still live, so you can still receive email to the old domain after a period of time. And just don't cut it off, because then you're not going to receive any to the old domain. Any internal documents, newsletters, you may want to do a press release to get some more links, get some mentions out of the new domain. At PPC campaigns, I mentioned, in due diligence in particular, that you may want to, have that new domain live already and be pushing some PPC traffic to that ahead of time before you actually do the full move. So you may want to update those. And then also, if you do happen to receive, some traffic loss, which shouldn't be major at all, you may want to, up the PPC campaigns to compensate for any, that traffic loss. Customers, clients, business partners, see if you can get those links changed, as many as you can, because once this, like I said, if you have a link from another website and they does a 301 redirect and then it goes to your site, you're going to lose some of that value through that redirect. If you can get that link updated, that's going to make sure you don't lose that. So after moving day, after you've moved, watch analytics for any traffic and traffic changes. You also want to look at look for ranking changes and so forth, and just continue to work on getting new links to the new domain name. Basically, the whole process is not very difficult. However, the key here is really working on, in fact, is actually just working specifically on doing the due diligence to make sure and doubly sure, that the new domain is clean and there's not any issues, and you have those redirects set up. Generally speaking, that there shouldn't be any problems. If you do, run into anything, feel free to get in touch with me in particular, and I'll be happy to take a look. And see if I can advise you about if there's anything that I see that could be fixed. So that said, this has been the Digital Marketing with Bill Hartzer podcast for July 22nd, 2021. Thanks so much for listening today, and we'll see you online. Thanks.